So there's one simple rule that I learned from a person that you may have heard of before. I'll reveal who this person is and exactly what this rule is in just a moment here. I'm not going to make you wait till the end, but I do want to say that this rule has alone saved me so much time, so much money, so much headache, so much pain, especially as a creator. And as creators, you can let me know whether you're here watching live or you're watching the replay, leave a comment, if you can relate to the idea of overthinking. We tend to, as creators, and especially those who are more entrepreneurial, we tend to overanalyze. We tend to overcreate. We tend to overextend. And as a result, we can lead to projects that fail. And failing is not bad. Of course, we can always learn from our failures. But we can also lead to burnout. We could lead to not ever going back and trying again. Unmute. Check. Am I muted? Again? Okay. Bill, dude, you gotta unmute your stuff. Maybe it's okay. Thanks, chat. Anyway, this rule and more, and why this is important in just a moment, because we like to overextend ourselves. We love to overcomplicate things. Let's make things a little easier. Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here. Welcome to the income stream. Let's do this.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream, all while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
It's all good, Bill. I was a little worried because yesterday I started off the stream muted accidentally because I've been rearranging the office here. As you can tell, it's a little bit nicer now. I don't know if you'd be able to tell from this view because you're still seeing all the cords here and whatnot. But I am reorganizing the office. There were a ton of wires. It reminded me of that scene in A Christmas Story where the lights get burnt out. Do y'all remember The Christmas Story? You'll shoot your eye out. Anyway, really excited to chat today. So what is this rule? And where does it come from? So this rule comes from Tim Ferriss. I heard him say it on a number of different podcasts, and whenever I started to hear it again and again, I really started to embrace it and live by it. And this rule is thinking and asking yourself this question whenever you're trying to start something new. And that question is, if this were easy, what would it look like? And actually trying to find out the answer. I think internally we always go, oh, I wish things would be easier, but we don't actually try to make things easier, right? And so let me say this question one more time. If this were easy, what would it look like? Now, I want to take you back. I want to take you back in time to when I started my blog at inthelead.com, which later changed to greenexamacademy.com. I wanted it to launch with the most pristine looking website ever, something unlike anybody has ever seen before. I wanted to launch in a very professional manner. And as a result, I started to go and research and, like we all do, find out what else is out there, what's working, and I wanted to incorporate more of all of that. In fact, everything that I could find, I wanted to incorporate on my website. And I'm sure you could relate to the same. But I eventually got to the point where, well, I realized that A, I don't know how to do more than half of these things that others are doing, and B, that I wasn't getting anywhere. In fact, I was getting really frustrated. And as a result of getting frustrated, I would put things aside and go do something that I was maybe better at or was more comfortable doing. As a result of getting frustrated, I just didn't believe that this was even possible. So this website that I was trying to make look great, because who doesn't want to make things look great, was actually the thing that was holding me back from doing what I ultimately wanted to do, which was to help people pass an architectural exam. And it's so interesting because there's so many points. If I can map out a lot of entrepreneurs' journeys, especially in the beginning phases, and you can think about your own journey here too, you can, Rob is saying Die Hard is the best Christmas movie. We're going to have a different debate than what we might be trying to have today. Anyway, you can all disagree or agree with that. I'm gonna remain indifferent to that. But this idea of overcomplicating things has been a part of who I was when I first started. But this thing, and if we can map out the decisions and the things that people want to do at the beginning, it's like, wow, why are we taking on so much? Why are we trying to do it all right up front? This is where that term MVP has become very popular, especially in the startup space and the entrepreneurial space, this idea of creating a minimum viable product. And I think we can embrace that. I think a lot of us know what that means. Hey, just launch with what you need to launch. But that's for the outcome, right? We still, even with an MVP in hand, can take the complicated road to get there. So the question that I want you to ask yourself, if you are in the middle of trying something new or experimenting with building something or creation of any kind, is to ask yourself, okay, if this were easy, what would it look like? If this were easy, what would it look like? That question alone, if you actually try to find out the answer to that question, can remove 90% of the additional work that you were probably going to do. It could probably remove 80 to 90% of the stuff that you're going to spend money on to get to the point that you could do to have your MVP. So the whole point of this conversation today, and I would love to crowdsource with some of you some of the things we're working on together, so I can maybe help you discover, okay, well, if that's what you're trying to do, how can we simplify this, right? And it's unfortunate because this sort of phrase came about after I wrote the book, Will It Fly? And Will It Fly is a book that I wrote that currently has over 1,000 reviews on Amazon. Thank you so much for that, by the way. That's just high five to anybody who's offered a review for my book there. This phrase was something I learned from Tim Ferriss after that book came out. Now, of course, I could rewrite the book, and I likely will, but that phrase really encompasses what this book is really about. Taking this big, scary thing of building a business and, creating and putting yourself out there and making it simple and trying to start first with validation to see if this thing will even fly, right? The easy thing would be to know whether the thing is going to work up front or not. And then if it's not, move on to something else that perhaps has a better chance to work out. So this whole idea of, okay, well, if this were easy, what would it look like? Let's talk about that. And I'd love to, again, to crowdsource some of the things you're working on. So let's just kind of do fun little exercises. So instead of me sort of explaining how to do this, why don't we just do this together? So chat, for those of you who are here live, thank you again for joining me. We're starting a little bit later today, which is kind of cool. I kind of, it's a little bit different. I did wake up around, the time of the stream and got a little worried because my body, my internal clock is just used to, after 257 days straight of this, just realizing that, oh no, I have to do a stream now. Oh wait, no, it's actually at noon today. And that's kind of how crazy things get when you do something again and again and again. But I would love to know what you believe that you're working on and that you should be doing. So let me know in the chat. We're just going to pull people out at random. I'm gonna feature you here, and we're going to help you out. So consider this sort of a specialized office hours, if you will, where if you tell me sort of what it is that your goals are, what it is that you're working on, the business that you are creating for yourself, and I'm going to go back and forth with you and maybe just kind of brain dump and just kind of speak my thoughts as we are discovering these things together, right? If this was easy, what would it look like? Love it. It's simple, right? Again, that phrase alone is simple. Too often we try to create these different systems and checks and balances in place to keep us moving forward. And it's like, no. Like, let's just ask ourselves, if this were easy, what would it look like? Journey with Long, surprised to catch us live during late lunch. Awesome. Yeah, a little bit later today, which is pretty cool. I'm so glad to be here at the different time. Thank you, Jen. It's great to see you here. PB and Jen. I love that name, by the way. Cool. Pat, this is brilliant. 6 a.m. in Australia. Wow. I'm actually able to get the early audience in Australia. That's actually kind of fantastic. Now, of course, I could be preaching the choir here. I could ask you, hey, do you like this time? But then everybody who wasn't able to make this time wouldn't be able to answer, obviously. So I'm not going to really go down that route. But let's see. Kwok says, I'm doing a Vlogmas, one video every day in December. I need to create videos to help my audience. Okay, so Kwok, Kathy, if this were easy, what would it look like? You need to create a video in December, and that's going to build your audience. It's going to build credibility. You're going to get to build a relationship with your audience. It's going to be cool. But, too often, I know people start to do things on the daily, and then they sort of fail because it's a lot to keep up with, to do it every day, right? So number one, we need some accountability, right? So I'm going to look forward to that sort of popping up on your channel, which is really cool. But secondly, in order to make it easy, let's make it easy, right? So I would, if I were you, if this were easy, what would it entail? You just sitting down in the same spot every day, or having access to the thing that you're going to record with every day in case you're moving around, and just having everything available for you to just click record and go. And I know from a filmmaker's perspective and a creator's perspective that the more friction there is for you to create, the less likely you are to do it. Now, you might be able to do it for the first week or two, but it's that grind that starts to happen after the honeymoon period, which happens after we start something new. After that ends and it starts to feel like a chore, and I gotta be honest, this live stream around episode 50 or 60 started to feel like, okay, well, how long do I really want to go for this? So I made sure that I had my setup the same every single day, to a point where I could literally just turn on the computer, click a couple buttons, and go live, right? To help make it easier, no, I don't script out the whole video. I have a transformation that I want to offer, or a theme of the day, or, Fridays are more giveaway type days, and that's kind of more random. Saturdays are website review and those kinds of things. That's helped me a lot too, because over the course of trying to make unique themes every day here on the show, what I've done is I've gone, okay, on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I want to make it a little bit easier for me. So I'm just going to already know what those are going to be about when I approach the weekend. So Friday is the giveaway day, Saturday here is the website and YouTube channel review day, and Sunday is Ask Me Anything day. And that way I can make Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Thursday days that are about specific things that might be more on top of your mind and more thematic, if that makes sense. So what I would recommend, Kathy, is have some sort of vlogging apparatus, maybe a SwitchPod. I don't know. Today's the last day to get the SwitchPod on sale, by the way, at switchpod.co. But that's cool. The performance part is easy for me. Content and editing are the challenging parts, right? So let's talk about this even further. Okay, after you film the video, what would be easier? If there was like legit nothing to edit, right? Maybe an intro that you already have available that you can plop right in, and an outro that's already available that you create once, and then it's just copy and paste within the front and back of every video. It would be easier if you wouldn't have to edit, in which case you just go, you know what? I'm not going to worry about a day long of filming where I'm going to have to cut up pieces and do this thing. You know what? I'm just going to turn the camera on, and for 15 minutes every single day, whatever happens in that 15 minutes is what's going to happen. That's it, right? And that could be very raw. It could be very honest. It could be very genuine, and you can use that to your advantage. Now, of course, if you have editing, how might we make this easier? Okay, have somebody else do the editing for you. Right? So these questions or these solutions all come and stem from that question. If this were easy, what would it look like? I want us to all sort of come back down to earth. I also want you to dream big and shoot for the moon. But at the same time, when it comes to creation, we also have to come back down to earth and go, okay, in reality, I don't have time to do all these things that I want to do for my website. So what am I going to do? Okay, I've discovered this thing called WordPress that allows me to make a blog in literally a minute, and I don't even have to pay for a theme, so that's what I did. My first version of inthelead.com was terrible in that it wasn't up to par with what I thought it was supposed to be. But eventually, over time, I got it there. But I started out easy with a minimum viable product, and I just said, you know what, if this were easy, I would just set up a website and it would already be available, and I could just start typing. And within a couple days, I was already able to do that. CNC Creativity Vlog says, my 11-year-old edits for me. That's cool. I wish I could find an editor. I've been thinking about looking at Fiverr. Fiverr is a great place to start. Upwork is a great place to start. For sure. Pat, that's good that you have a setup already. Yes, indeed. So what else you got going on? So hopefully that's making sense. Ligia says, I am working on doing a free weekly group coaching chat for small business owners, consultants, and coaches called Tea Time Coaching. I need to get the word out. Awesome. So let's just talk about like the creation of this thing. How are you going to be able to manage this? How are you going to create it? Well, let's just say, you know what? We're going to all get together on Zoom this time every day. It happens. It's easy for you because you can bake it in your schedule. You don't have to worry about it anymore. You can have it become one of those recurring Zoom rooms that literally is just the same room link every single time. You can even have it easier. If this were easy, guess what? It's a bookmark on your, or it's a link in the calendar so that when you get that notification, you just click that notification, you go up, and you're ready and live for whoever wants to show up. Now, in terms of getting it out there, if this were easy, what would it look like, right? Well, it would be in the bios of everything that you have available on social media so that people know this exists. It would be something that other people would talk about and invite their friends for too. It would be an email that you send out, and that's it. We don't have to get super complicated with any of this stuff. If this were simple to start out with, what would it look like? And let's go there. Dr. Severin Bryan says, working on building a personal finance education and coaching business by starting with YouTube and podcasts to create the know, like, trust factor. Okay, so if this were easy, what would it look like? You would have clients, right? And you could get even 1 or 2 clients to start out with. I remember I was talking to a person, her name was Melissa, and she wanted to create a Facebook group and a YouTube channel and a Twitter account and TikTok because she wanted to get moms together in a community. And I said, well, you know what? Like, you know a bunch of moms in the community already. Why don't you just skip all that hard work and set up a meeting at a restaurant on this day and invite those moms over? And now she's successfully done this for over a year every single month. And now she has the website. Now she has those other things. So might you be able to get to your end result, personal finance education and coaching business? Might you be able to find people that you can coach without the YouTube channel right now, or with the YouTube channel not being like a stress factor, but a place to kind of continue to build trust? I think creating content is good. It can help spread the word, but you might be able to skip all that and get access to people who you might be able to help already. Might there be groups where you can connect with people individually and help them out versus and earn trust there versus the hours and hours that it takes for the creation of content plus the hours and hours it is for people to kind of subscribe and come back. And the long-term game is really important too, but you might be able to get to your end result or at least a few clients much faster, if that makes sense. Thank you for all your helpful info. You're welcome. Oh my gosh, I need to do that this week. I'm watching videos later today. Awesome. Elon said this one funny idea, but it's actually a pretty good idea. He said that, let me pop in this quote here. He said that instead of baby showers, we should have business showers and celebrate when people get their business up and running. Dude, I like that idea. But it's not about the idea of the business being celebrated. It's your first customer, right? It's the actual birth of that business. And a business is not a website. A business is not a social media account. A business is not a business card or a logo or any of that stuff. A business is a transactional effort between parties that have some sort of trade for money to a service or product or inspiration, motivation, entertainment, whatever the case may be, right? Ryan says, I'm trying to get time to get ahead of my podcast. I get 2 to 3 episodes done and then feel like with the extra time to get the other stuff done and then feel rushed again to get ahead. Crazy cycle. Yeah, I mean, that's batch processing will do that to you, right? It's like, you have a rush and then it's a lull moment and then a rush versus, 1 episode a week. And I prefer the batch processing because I can already wake up and get fired up for getting a whole bunch of stuff done, knowing that I'm going to have a break and like using that break for other things and not feeling rushed, but feeling, it's a mindset thing. It's the idea of, if this were easy, I would enjoy it, right? That's another factor. I would much rather do things that I enjoy. It's much easier to do something when you enjoy it. So instead of approaching it, Ryan, as, oh my gosh, I now have to do a rush of like 2 to 3 episodes, it's like, yo, I get to do 2 to 3 episodes today. That's dope. And so as a result of that, it might help you with your energy levels and the expectations that you have for yourself. And it might even factor into the quality of the content as well, if that makes sense. Pat, I started my podcast and will remain constant, whatever it takes. That's awesome, Sam. I would really start honing in on who your audience is. It's so much easier. If this were easy, what would it look like? I would already know who exactly was in my target audience and what they're going through, what their struggles are, what topics they're interested in, so that when I'm creating podcast episodes, I don't have to wonder whether or not they're going to be useful. I know that. And then I will have confidence in promoting it, knowing it will help people versus, oh, I just interviewed this random person and it was an okay story. And, it might be relevant to some people. I would much rather we approach our podcast episodes, whether it's a solo show or a guest or an interview or a co-host of some kind that has a specialty, with this just like pronounced confidence that this is the thing that people need to listen to right now. And if you're not approaching your content in that way, then what are you approaching your content for? Are you throwing spaghetti on a wall and hoping some of it sticks? Or are you like, you know what? here is a dart. This dart with this pointed tip, I'm going to shoot at the dartboard, and I might miss a little bit, but it's more precise, and it's kind of firing with purpose instead. Now, I still think you need to know that even when you fire with purpose, right, it's going to, miss the mark sometimes. It's going to be maybe not exactly what you thought it was, but you learn from it, right? You've at least made a calculated decision on what it is that you're creating, what it is that you're promoting, what it is that you're doing, so that when it's out there, you're like, okay, did that work like I thought it would or not? Why or why not, right? So hopefully this is inspiring you and helping you. Sorry, I get a little passionate about this kind of stuff. I like that confidence. Now, confidence comes from experience, so I don't want you to get cocky about it, but I want you to at least have some understanding that what it is that you're creating is of value, and that's important. At the same time, confidence comes from hearing feedback and small wins. So make sure to celebrate when you do achieve those small wins or you do get feedback. Like anytime somebody says like I'm doing something great, like I really internalize it. I try to make it more of a, like, do you remember in Spider-Man Far From Home with Spider-Man? I'm trying to think of the actor's name. Gosh, why is it escaping me? Who's the Tom Holland? Yes, and Zendaya were in that episode, right? But it's this idea that there was like a creature in this. There was a villain that was like made out of fire and metal, and every time he touched metal, he would grow bigger, right? I feel the same way. That was a really long search for something that really wasn't that important. So you see, sometimes you experiment and things don't work. They just fall dull. Other times you hit the nail on the head and you make it jingle, and that's what we're talking about. So anyway, you know what I mean. Whenever you give me positive feedback, it helps me grow and it gives me more energy to give back to you. That's all I needed to say. Why was I going down that route? I don't know. This is live, people. This is just what we do here. I appreciate you very much. All right. What else are you all working on? You can, and you're more than welcome to re-paste something that you shared here. Just don't like say it 50 times in a row. But I'm very thankful for the opportunity to help you out today and hopefully help others. So again, we're on this theme of, and the number one rule here, if you're coming in late, is to consider when you're trying something new, when you're creating anything that might seem a little bit more difficult or hard or outside of your comfort zone, because of course that's where growth happens, outside of your comfort zone. You gotta think about this question, and that is, if this were easy, what would it look like, right? And that question has helped me so much. Tim Ferriss is the one who pointed me toward that direction, not personally, but in a podcast episode or episodes, I've heard him say that many times. When you're trying to do something like, okay, well, what would, if this were easy, what would it look like, right? This also goes back to Atomic Habits from James Clear. He likes to talk about this idea of, building a habit and making it easier for you to start the habit. So if you are in 2021, or maybe even before, you don't have to wait till 2021 to start this, but if you're going to be focusing on your health, high five for you, but we want to make it easy. So let's not try to get to the gym 7 days a week for 3 hours a day. That's hard. Let's just start simple, make it easy. I'm just going to walk into the gym and I'm going to do one exercise when I get there. That's easy to think about. Now, of course, when you're there, you're going to do more because you've already got your foot in the door. If you want to start running every morning, let's not have to shuffle around and find our shoes and our socks and our running gear in the morning. Let's get that all set up the night before. So when I wake up, boom, it's easy. All that stuff's there. There's no friction. I can get started. Thank you for the Polish good day. Thank you. Appreciate you. Good morning, Pat and friends. Thanks, James. Appreciate you being here, my friend. Scrap Happy says, I shared my win with the SPI Pro Win of the Week, and then I was featured in the member feature of the week. It was such an honor. Thank you, Scrap Happy. I remember that. You are awesome. The Thrifty Pickers. I have beard envy, says Ben. Ben from Teslanomics. Definitely check out his channel. All things Tesla and data, because data is where the answers live. Ben, I appreciate you being here, my friend. The Thrifty Pickers. I'm just in the beginner phases of learning how to edit videos. It is a lot harder than it seemed, but it was a blast creating the videos. How can I get better? So here's how you can get better. Number one, are you creating these videos for yourself or for others? Doesn't matter. Process, systems. Of all the things that you can learn within your editing platform, I don't know if you're using Adobe Premiere or Sony Vegas or iMovie, probably not. Maybe, I don't know, what's the other one? Final Cut Pro, ScreenFlow, Camtasia, whatever it is you're using. What has helped me make editing easier is just go, okay, what are the things that I do the most? Okay, how can I do those faster? How can I do those easier, right? So one of the most common things I do in my videos is I slice, and then I slice another part, and I put those things together, removing the innards. Sounds like a turkey. To have this beautiful, delicious, final edited portion of a video, and I just do that over and over and over again, right? So, okay, let me rewind. When I create a video, and y'all saw me last week or 2 weeks ago create a video live here, and I published it, and it's become the #1 video that I've had in a very long time because we put a lot of time and effort and research into it. But when filming that video, boom, I hit record, right? And then I'm just recording the whole time. So that's easy. I don't have to stop, start, right? Whoa, pressed the wrong button there. Tried to do that blind and it wasn't working. My wife just told me that I'm a Pat Flynn fangirl. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate that. I edit my one giant long recording because it's just so much easier to record without having to start and stop, right? So that's, if this were easy, what would it look like? I would just hit record and go. Now, of course, if it would be easier if I was getting better and I didn't have to edit, and that has been happening. Just the more you do something, the better you get at it. But you're still gonna edit and you'd wanna edit anyway. So let's say, for example, that I wanna edit out a mistake. I now know the shortcuts. I can literally do that in a half second because that's the most common thing that I do. So Thrifty Pickers, whatever the most common things that you do in your videos, just make it super easy to do that. If you quite often include a lower third in your videos at the beginning, like how can you make including that much easier? Just so it's like drag and drop easy, right? Let's say you also, do zoom ins every once in a while, right? Like, oh, it's not, I don't have that set up. I could do that really quick here though. If I go here, and then I go here, and then I go here, and then I go boom, right? So now I can be like, yo, what's up? Pat here, welcome, goodbye, right? So anyway, if you edit that in your video, it's like, okay, well, that takes a certain number of steps. How might you just get really good at that? What are the shortcuts to cut and zoom and create an action of zooming in and a kern and whatever all those terms are? Like, let's just make it easy, right? So with experience comes improvement, but conscious improvement. The idea of, okay, of the 80% of the things I do, or excuse me, anyway, you know what I'm saying. I already said it like 5 times in 10 different ways. Pat Flynn, you changed my life with the Adobe Premiere suggestion. I'm zipping through my editing and saving money by doing it myself. Nice job. Welcome. Good job. And of course, part of this is like not having FOMO, right? You see another video, you watch Casey Neistat's video, and you're like, ooh, I think I need a time lapse at the beginning of my videos because his are awesome and I would love to add that style in my videos too, right? Well, you could do that, but do you need it? If you were trying to make your videos easy, would it be something that you would do, or would it distract you? Oftentimes we get distracted, we get FOMO, we want to do what other people are doing, but brass tacks, bare bones, what is necessary to do what you need to do? Then you can start to add that adornment and decoration later, right? Don't start out with that. Start out with the message, the purpose, the transformation, the connection, and then you can add the adornment later. I'm getting better, but I still have a long way to go. What is a good software to use when editing videos? Right now I use Movavi, like the one I didn't mention. I like Adobe Premiere if you are on a PC. I also recommend Final Cut Pro if you're on a Mac, but Movavi is great too. I mean, you could probably find some tutorials on YouTube that can make it better and easier too. What was the Premiere suggestion? Adobe Premiere. That is for editing videos on a PC specifically. Say it 6 times in 11 ways. One of them will stick and hit the right chord. Thank you. Oh yeah, I'm drooling over drone shots in other videos. Yeah, right? And it's just like, okay, like that'd be cool. And you know, you can do that. And again, if it's easy, what's it look like? I'll get a drone for Christmas, cool. And I'm just gonna take one shot and I'm gonna try that in my next video. And I'm just gonna see what that's like, right? I'm just going to make it easy. Sometimes we want to do the bigger things, and okay, let's do the bigger things. But then we go all out with those bigger things. Like, let's start small and then get better over time. Dawn says, guess I'll listen to replay as my brain is getting scrambled listening to two things, C and Team Replay. Thanks, Dawn. I don't know what else you're listening to, but yeah, we'll be here for you. Go ahead and enjoy that other thing. You could be back. I've had several PC problems and honestly no quiet place to record. I have a soundproofed office once I get my new house done. Nice, Daryl. So with regards to this question, okay, if this were easy, what would it look like? Well, first of all, sorry about the PC problems. That's obviously an issue. But what if instead you just recorded onto your phone, right? You had a little Rode Smart Lav microphone. You can just attach it here or just hold it. Make sure you hold it at the same distance, though. The problem with putting it here is sometimes you get the brush like this sound, and we don't want that. But you just record into your phone, and there it is. And then, hey, you want to pop it on, Buzzsprout or Anchor or wherever, let's do it. And it's simple and easy to go from there. So, again, if this were easy, what would it look like? I like this guy. I'll be back for more. Thanks, Femi. Appreciate you. You are a rock star. Hope you come back later. Awesome. Let's see. You said the Adobe Premiere suggestion saved someone hours and money. Yes, that was from EJ, the travel diva. She's up here somewhere. She said those exact words. I've tried Movavi in the past, but had some issues when adding images and doing some other things. I mean, the ones that I actually use ScreenFlow more than anything to edit videos. Technically speaking, my big videos I hand out to somebody else now. But yeah. I think I get the concept. Cool. Okay, what else are y'all working on? My challenge, Scrap Happy. I moved my membership to Circle. Had a great challenge in October. Now need to find ways to get people engaging with our other activities, training them to come to Circle. Suggestions. So I want you to think about what we do in SPI Pro to keep you coming back, right? Yes, the content and not just like we don't put content in there. It's like community generated content. I mean, we show up and we create challenges and things like that. But to get people in between the challenges, we obviously have some good conversations, some good topics that people are interested in, and it's enough people for it to move on its own. But if you're just starting out, it can be a lot harder to do that. So we need to get people to practice doing this. So you want to have some sort of incentive or some sort of reward. I'm not saying like an Amazon gift card or anything that you have to purchase, but there is reward for recognition. There's reward for feeling a sense of belonging, and you can use the opposite of that to bring people in, right? What's happening today or what's happening now that people need to get in on that they would feel FOMO for, right? So, hey, Wednesday we're sharing Scrap Happy. Hey, it's Scrap Happy Saturday, Scrapper Day. And here on Scrapper Day, everybody loves to share their own work, and you got to check out what Lisa brought. Here's a little preview, and you can see what she has done, and I would love for you to share your stuff too. So this is now bringing the community together, right, if that makes sense. Matchin' ASMR, I only need 19 more hours to get monetized. You got this. Keep up the good work. So you need 1,000 hours within the last year, I think. You're almost there. Keep up the good work. Kevin Daly says, any suggestion for going live software? Yes. In fact, what I'm using right now is called Ecamm Live, and it's for Mac only, unfortunately. If you're going to be going on a PC, I'd recommend StreamYard. Scrapper Day. Although Scrapper makes it sound like you're throwing away, right? Maybe Scrapper Day is like, hey, community, share all the things that like are your worst work, right? And let's all just get embarrassed together. Like, this is okay. Part of scrapping is like making mistakes. So let's, on Scrapper Day, share your scraps, like, or I don't know, I'm just kind of making this up. But like having some sort of thing that people go, oh, what is that? Like, I want to join in. If you go to a mall, and it's COVID safe, obviously, and you see a crowd of people, and they're all looking up at the sky, like everybody's looking up at the sky, what are you going to do? Avoid looking up? No. Like, you're instinctively going to look up. We have a herd mentality. So get the herd to do things together and get that rhythm going, and people can come back and get excited about it, right? StreamYard is great. Yes. I'd love to do a course, but I can't decide on what to do. Then get bombarded with what I want versus what I should sell. Yeah, this is a common sort of battle that we have with ourselves, right, Jillian? This idea of like, well, what do I want versus what... Here's what it all comes down to. How are you going to help people the most? Because likely what you want can come from that. And you need to validate this so that you can understand that this is a direction worth moving forward with, which is why in my book, Will It Fly, I talk about these principles of finding out what the pains and problems are of your target audience. And sure, it might be an online course, but it might not be an online course. You might have to get to the point where you have some sort of connection to a few people in that space and go, you know what, I'm thinking of creating a course that looks like this. Here's the outline for it. I would highly recommend, even now, Jillian, creating an outline for your course. Just even see if that's something, because you might find it after creating the outline, you're just like, you know what? It's very obvious to me now that this is not the direction I want to go anymore. And then it's out of your brain, right? I've been trying to think of a quote for something like this, but here's the sentiment. As long as something is still stewing in your brain that you're not sure about, it's taking up energy, like literal calories. It's taking up energy that you can then or could have for something else, right? This is why when people have ideas, I'm like, okay, get them on my favorite kind of paper, the Post-it note. And yes, this Post-it has specifically a DeLorean on it, which is sick. This is from by the way. Look at that. I'm never going to write on these. Like, why would I ever write on these? Anyway, I have ones without the DeLorean on it. And so what we can do is take all these things out of our brain, work with them a little bit so that we can make a decision. Because then if things aren't good or we aren't excited about them anymore, or things after conversations seem to not pan out the way we think, let's get it away, right? Let's get it away. Throw it down, hits the ground, makes it jingle. Said that twice just in case. And we go from there, right? What's up, Salsabil? Nice. What's up? Grandma Goody's in the house. We got Stephanie, Jameen, Bill. What I want? Simple. Another day. Hey, we can be grateful for every single day because that's what we have. And everybody shares that. It's just what we make of it, right? Fallon says, invested in a podcast course and now thinking of buying a brand new iPad and mic to move forward, but I'm on a serious budget. What should I do, Pat? Number one, do you need the iPad and mic to do the podcast course? So likely a mic is going to be very important and one that maybe can help transition with you to a iPad if you choose to move forward with an iPad in a little bit. But adding an iPad into the mix of podcast editing does add a little bit more complication. Again, let's make this simple, right? Just record directly into the device or the computer that you already have, and then you can go from there, right? So follow the steps in the podcast course. I don't know whose podcast course you got, whether it was mine or somebody else's, doesn't matter. They're all great. They're all helping you. A mic would be a great investment because there's a certain level of audio standard that is required in the podcasting space. Audio is so important, everybody. Audio. If you have great audio, you can get away with bad video, honestly. But if you have bad video, or if you have bad audio and the video quality is great, it's not going to be great, right? So that just shows you how much more important audio actually is, even more important, in my opinion, than video. So, haircut is fresh. Thank you, Authentic. Appreciate that. First one in like 9 months. First professional haircut I got. Anyway, I would go with a Samson Q2U USB microphone. That way you don't have to buy all the crazy boxes and things, like all the things that I have here, like this Rodecaster Pro, and like I have some stuff under the desk for my other computer where I podcast there too. Like you don't need any of that stuff. You just need, I can't open it. You just need the Samson Q2U, plugs into your computer, boom, you're ready to go. Just start there, right? You start there. Samson Q2U. Plugs into your computer. You don't need any of the fancy interfaces. Your computer is the interface. You're ready to go, right? Then over time, you might benefit from, if it helps you, getting an iPad. And if you were to get an iPad, I would look for a second market one. I was about to say black market. Second market one where it's maybe already used. A lot of people are getting rid of their fairly newer ones to get some of the newest ones, and those can still do the job for you, right? But it also, how is it going to integrate into your life and all the other things that you want to do? How might it support you? I always say that for things like this that can help you be more productive, how are you going to get, quote unquote, your money back from these things? Your money or your time back? Anything that you purchase that is like for productivity purposes, like an iPad, a computer, a camera, or whatever, how might you benefit from that purchase long term? So might you get an ROI on it if it's for business? If it's for something other than business, then how might it still provide joy for you and value for you a year from now, 2 years from now? Is it something that's going to get you some time back and make things more convenient, in which case you would love to pay $1,000 for an iPad because you know you're going to get more than $1,000 of time back, right? So hopefully this makes sense. I want to give a shout out to Just Samson for telling me about you, bro. Pat Flynn, your advice is awesome. Thanks for everything. I appreciate you, Thrifty Pickers. Thanks for coming in, and thanks for sharing. Samson, appreciate you, my friend. Bruh. You're amazing. Did that go through? Bruh. Okay, there it was. I heard it. I'm trying a new sort of audio thing here. Is that a fade on the haircut? Fly. Yes, a little. It's a little bit of a high fade, a 1 on the sides. I need your information, but I need it in Arabic. I do not speak or can translate for you, but you might be able to use Google Translate on the blog. There's a ton of information on the blog, smartpassiveincome.com. And yeah, there might be an equivalent creator who can help you in a very similar manner. So I apologize, I don't have that for you directly, Salsabil. You're welcome, Fallon. All right. What else do you guys need help with? I'm here for you. Let's see. Well, will you weigh in on Die Hard debate at the end of stream? Probably not. I don't want to divide the audience here. I got a Rode mic, and it feels like my video's definitely improved in quality, right? With just better audio. It's crazy. In the process of figuring out the process of recording video when creating with 3D printing, stuck on overthinking, I should just record everything, which takes too long or miss the start, middle, etc. So in the process of figuring out the process of recording video when creating with 3D printing. So you're going to be doing some 3D printing. You're going to be creating some videos about this stuff. So there are several creators who, and I'm not saying this to kind of stop you, I'm saying this to encourage you, who have done this before. So number one, you know it's possible, right? It's not impossible. So that alone is sort of lesson number one with this thing. It's like, okay, is this even possible? Yes, other people have done it before. So you can get that thought out of your head that like, you can't do this either, right? It's just a matter of, are you going to figure out the answers on how to do this? Excuse me. So let's say, let's see, if I was in your shoes, if I wanted to keep this simple, again, that's the rule today. If this were simple, what would it be like? If this were easy, what would it look like? For those of you who have come in late, that's the one rule. Always ask yourself when creating something new, just like we're talking about today with Journey with the Young. He wants to create videos about 3D printing, but 3D printing takes forever and it can take too long. And, we want to make this process as simple as possible. The question you need to ask yourself is, if this were easy, what would it look like? So let's ask this question for Leon. If this were easy and I was in your shoes, I would put the time-lapse video, time-lapse on my camera, pointed toward the 3D printer, and I would just record the whole 3D print. I wouldn't talk, I wouldn't do anything, I would just do whatever it is I do that I'm used to doing because I don't want to get distracted. Just turn the camera on, time lapse, and I put the code in, and then it prints, right? And it might take 4 or 5 hours or whatever it is that I'm printing, but now I have some really cool B-roll footage that's very, very pattern interrupty. It's just this juicy content because people are like, okay, this like white plastic is coming out of this hot little tube. I need to watch to the end to see what this thing actually looks like. Like that content is great. It might take you a couple of trial runs to see the right speed or the right angles or any of this stuff. But what's cool is now maybe you do a voiceover on top of it where you don't even need to put yourself on camera. Maybe you put yourself on camera in the beginning and you just go like, hey guys, Leon here. I have a really cool 3D print for you today. What I'm doing is a plan from, what's that website called? Where you could literally it's called like Thingiverse or something like that. Okay, anyway, Thingiverse, I found this really cool plan. I'm gonna print it out and then I'm gonna talk about it and tell you some tips about making sure that your plastic sticks to the base. Okay, here we go. Boom, that video's done, that's part 1. Part 2 is you just have the B-roll of the thing printing, right? That's the sound it printing makes. And as that's going on, it might be a few minutes, right? But you're just talking. And you can go, you know, and then you can tell stories during that time. You've already hooked people in the beginning of that video, and it's just literally your voice on top of that B-roll. And at the end, you can take some really good shots of, you go to video, and you go, you know, 2x, if you have it, or whatever, you know, just go super close, right? Super close. Can't see my credit card number, right? No, you can't. That's my credit card right there. You go super close on that product, and you're just talking about, again, oh, I love how the edges turned out here. You'll notice some stuff on the bottom here, which I'm going to sand off in a second. Like, bro, done. Good. Let me know if that makes sense. Hopefully you're still here. Pokey Kobe in the house. What books do you recommend? What is your personal most underrated book or your favorite book that you've read and one that you've written? Thank you, Pokey Kobe in the Pokemon channel, in the Pokemon community. Let me see if I can find him on here so that we can put his link, his question up. Thank you, Pokey Kobe. Definitely check him out if you're interested in some really cool Pokemon videos. I've watched some of his stuff. Really cool. He's a cool setup, and obviously Kobe Bryant fan, so much love for sure. Favorite underrated book. This isn't necessarily, quote, underrated, but it falls under the radar sometimes because there are so many new books that come out. But this is an old book that has been very influential in my life, and I know the lives of tens of thousands, if not potentially even millions of others. And that book is called How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. How to Win Friends and Influence People. And especially as a creator, Kobe, I know that this would benefit you, especially because you do a lot of lives, and there's a lot of really good principles in this book. Like, the most beautiful sound to anybody is their own name. And because you have access now, and we have access to people online, getting really good with saying people's names on live streams, just like we're doing right here, can be a really great way to quickly connect with somebody. That's just like one chapter in this entire book of how to win friends and influence people. And this is sort of what I base my business style and my life on, is the principles within that book. So How to Win Friends and Influence People. One that I've written that, if, Kobe, you don't know my story very well, I actually have a book. I have 2 books that most people know me for. One is called Will It Fly, and it helps people validate business ideas before they create them. And that was a Wall Street Journal bestseller back in 2016, even as a self-published book. In 2019, I published Superfans, which I think you have, because I saw that you mentioned that in a chat yesterday. But beyond that, I have another book called Let Go. And that book is called Let Go because, thank you, Claudia, I appreciate that. Let go because, number one, I was let go from my architecture job, the thing I thought I was going to do for the rest of my life. And I got let go, and that was very tough and hard. So this is very much sort of a story of my story and how I got through that. But it's also called Let Go because in order for me to grow and become an entrepreneur, to become a creator, become a business person, I had to let go who I thought I was supposed to be. You know, I went to school getting a 4.2 grade point average and doing everything the way I was supposed to. I was almost, quote unquote, brainwashed or conditioned. I don't want to say brainwashed because, you know, I mean, maybe, but I was conditioned to believe to go to college and get this great job and support my family for 45 years, retire, and that's life. And I had to let go of that, who I thought I was supposed to be, in order to grow to who I am now, right? If you imagine like a corporate ladder, right? Like, imagine a literal ladder that you're climbing, right? You're climbing it. And then something happens and you're stuck there, right? You're not happy. You can't climb any higher or what have you. Most people, when they climb higher, what do? They grip tighter, right? They squeeze, and it becomes even harder to fall off or to let go. But imagine there's another ladder next to you and you see that it has this incredible upside and that the view up there is really amazing. It's a little scary, but it's amazing up there, and you know there's a lot more for you in this new direction. So imagine you're on this old ladder, and then you have to transition to this new ladder. And for a while, I was holding on to the new ladder with 2 hands and 1 foot, but I kept the other foot on the other ladder for so long, And it wasn't until I finally let go of that that I could actually then climb up the new ladder. So that analogy is one that I actually used in person at my event last year in San Diego, where I actually brought out literal ladders. People were freaking out. The people backstage were like, we didn't pay for insurance for this. What are you doing? I didn't tell them I was going to do that. Anyway, it's kind of fun. Thanks for that question, by the way. So that book, Let Go, it's a lot shorter. It's about 20,000 words, about half the size of my other books. But it definitely goes deep into my psyche and all the things that had to happen for what I have now today. Ooh, Bill says, the power of positive thinking. I love that. Think and Grow Rich, kind of very similar tone, I would assume. Kevin says, do you only stream to YouTube? And if so, why? I do for this channel. I have a completely separate channel with my kids called Hot Coals Only. My kids picked that name, and we do Twitch games. We stream Among Us. We stream Fortnite. We do kind of random fun things like that. And that's more for them, and that's Twitch because Twitch is just Twitch and separate, and I wanted to experiment with that. But for this channel alone, even though I have the possibility of restreaming this elsewhere at the same time, that's called multi-streaming or repurposing or what have you, I choose to keep it on YouTube because I know that I'm better able to build a relationship with you as an individual here versus if I were to be sort of sprayed across all these different channels, I wouldn't be able to go as deep with any of these channels. Maybe I'm wrong in that, but I know from experience in trying that before and talking to other people that when I can hone in on the community in one spot, everything just, again, to go back to the question, if this were easy, what would it look like? I just go live on YouTube and I have this audience built here in this community and members coming in and it's amazing. And that's all I have to worry about versus, okay, now I have these tools that help me go to all these places. But not only that, I have to pay attention to the chat on all these different places. And I'm not able to give my full self to each and every one of those platforms. I'm more divided. That's kind of why I choose to go one. The Thrift Pickers, what are you using for your sound effects and music? Where would I get one? It's super cool. So to be honest, with Ecamm Live, which is what I'm streaming with right now, you don't need any of these fancy buttons and things. Like literally I have 8 buttons here to do things like that. I have a like that or my bruh kind of thing. That's on the Rodecaster Pro. This is a $599 product where you can plug in some really nice microphones and then potentially even interview 3 other people, and it plugs into your computer. You can Bluetooth your phone in and have sounds from your phone actually play and then be recorded. It's a nice piece of kit for sure. But I also have this tool here, which I just clicked the button on. I don't know if you could see it because that screen's in the way, but this thing that I'm holding right here is called a Stream Deck from Elgato. And Stream Deck, this is a 32-button Stream Deck, and this Stream Deck allows me to set just buttons. So if I click this button, it'll do this thing. So if I click this button, it goes to that scene up there. If I click this button, it goes here. If I click this button, it zooms in, and I can have it zoom out. Whoa, that's kind of cool. I like kind of like pulling that. What does the jingle sound like? Like my song? My jingle for the income stream? Or just like a jingle in general? A general jingle. 144 in chat, so cool. Thank you, chat, for being here. And again, make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. See, I just clicked the button, and that happened, although it's over Bill's comment. I apologize, Bill. But click that button, hit that bell notification icon so that I can continue to help you and serve you as you grow your business, as you kind of, put yourself out there and get uncomfortable. I'm going to get uncomfortable with you. That sounds a little dirty. What I mean is, all great things happen outside of our comfort zone. And I don't want you to be alone when you're heading in that direction. I want to be here with you and support you. What is this video? My phone just autoplayed this. Well, that's good news. But what's up, Steven? Welcome in. So my name is Pat Flynn. I'm an entrepreneur. I help people make more money, save more time, and help more people too. And whether you're creating a business, you're an entrepreneur, I don't know how YouTube put me in front of you, but I'm thankful that you're here. You can subscribe if you like, or you can hang around for the next 5 minutes. But today I'm doing a live video, and I do a live video every single day. I've gone 257 days straight. And today we're talking about the one and only rule that you should follow in order to save more time and save more money if you're creating anything. And that is asking yourself this question. If this were easy, what would it look like? right? You're creating a podcast. Cool. If this were easy, what would it look like? Well, probably not buying the entire studio in your home before you even get started. If it were simple, you just need to pick up a microphone, get on a platform like Buzzsprout to host your audio files, and you pop it up there. Easy to go, right? Let's just keep it simple. Anything can be broken down into the simple factors to get started and actually create things. And I just gave a whole bunch of different examples here, and I've crowdsourced a few examples from the crowd here too to help people with their own challenges as well. See. Yep. I only stream to YouTube to keep it simple and easy. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. I've read Win Friends. Love it. I'm going to reread it and see if the lessons are any different with my new perspectives. I reread that probably once every other year. And every time, just like a movie, you start to notice and realize new things for sure. So I love that. Let Go is ordered now. Thank you, Kobe. Appreciate you for that. High five. That's awesome. Your USP inspired me to create mine. Yes. Not to be confused with UPS, but USP, your unique selling proposition. There's a number of different things related to determining what your USP is. USP sounds very formal, right? That's like from business school. Oh, if you have a business, what's your USP? What's the thing about your product that's different from others? I like thinking about your superpowers instead. What about you, specifically, Jillian? What about you, Kobe? What about you, Bill? What about you, Fallon, Kevin, Steven, who came in earlier, who had no idea who I was? Kevin, what is it that's unique about you? You have something, for sure, because every one of us is 100% original. There is nobody in this world like you. But how are you sort of like taking these things about you, or these experiences, and sharing them in a way that is going to help people? And also, when you put yourself out there, guess what? Your vibe attracts your tribe, right? So anyway, a lot of things there. Kevin says, what camera are you using? Currently, I'm using a Canon EOS R with a 20 millimeter 2.8 f aperture, or 2.8 aperture. Yeah, f. I think that's right. This camera back here is just a Logitech webcam. It's a little bit sort of bright because of the lights behind me. And plus, Pat Flynn helps cure what ails you. Great stuff, Pat. If it were simple, would everyone do it? If it were simple, everyone would do it. I think things can be simplified and everyone can do it, but we overcomplicate things. Therefore, not everybody does it. So number one, you can simplify and make it easier for yourself. Ask yourself the question, if this were easy, what would it look like? I have a bunch of rules for things like that in my life. For example, if I'm about to make a purchase, I don't, unless I have to, make the purchase right away. I sleep on it. But while I'm sleeping on it, I go, okay, is this thing that I'm thinking of purchasing worth something to me? Is it going to provide value to me? Is it going to spark joy? Is it going to end up in a portfolio of some kind? And is it going to maybe increase in income, or am I going to get something back as a result, right? Nice lens and camera. Thank you. Appreciate that. It's called a UPO. What's UPO? Unique positioning offer. What's up, Mar? Good to see you. Love the bearded look. Thank you. Yeah, it actually, I didn't even know it was possible, so I'm keeping it because it might not come back. I don't know. Never had a beard my whole life, and ever since February, it's been around. I've cut it a few times, but there is some gray there. Anyway, what is UPO? TJG, you know, hey, thanks for being here. I appreciate you. I'm going to put you in a timeout because there's no room for that negativity here. But I just want to say, if there's something going on in your life, you just got to, you know, reach out. I'm here to help you. You know, the thumbs downs. If you're having a bad day, I'm glad that you're here and you can sort of like let some steam out here too. But, you know, typically comments like that come from a place of hurt. So honestly, TJG, if you are hurting in some sort of way, you know, I see that. I've seen it time and time again. Even if you don't think so, there's something deep down that's likely troubling you. And, you know, you've come to a good spot. There's a community here that is here to support you. And if you have something of value to share, we're more than welcome to welcome that comment. But there's no room for negativity here. But if there is something happening, you can reach out to me, pat@patflynn.com, and let me know how you feel. So, you know, hey, there are people, in fact, that will actually help you. Cool. I just asked myself if I can fix what I broke. That need to get a new one. I didn't know what it was called. UPO. UPO, I meant that thing that makes you different. Oh, okay. I thought it, okay. Yeah, UPO, it probably stands for something. I just don't know. Unique power opportunity. universal presence opinion, unrealized powers of oneself. Yo. Nice. I'll just say superpower. Okay. Cool. Hey, y'all, I have to go to a call. It is 1 o'clock. I have a leadership meeting with my team. So, yo, this was fun. This noon time was a fun experiment. We have a lot of viewers in today. Thank you for coming in. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that bell notification icon if you haven't already. And I want to thank you so much for coming in today. We did get the secret word in a couple times. And if you remember here, thank you so much for supporting the channel and teachers the rest of this year. I appreciate you so much. So I appreciate you coming in. For those of you new, welcome. Come back tomorrow. We're starting likely at 9 a.m. Pacific tomorrow. So 9 a.m. Pacific again. Back to our regular time. But hey, we might throw in a couple of these noons or maybe even switch to noon for real. I don't know. We'll see. I'll talk to the 9 o'clock crowd tomorrow. Hopefully you can come join too. 9 o'clock a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern. I appreciate you so much and wishing you all the best. Remember, keep it simple. If this were easy, what would it look like? Live that. Don't actually tattoo it on your face, but you know the equivalent. All right. Take care, everybody. Appreciate you. And as always, Team Flynn for the win. Peace out, yo.
This is the income stream to help you achieve your dream. All while we keep it clean. This is the income stream. It's the kind of show where you can come and go, but then you leave inspired with no fee required. The income stream with Pat Flynn.
Woo! Good times today. Thanks, everybody. Really deep in some of the conversations. And then other times, not so much. And that's what I love about the show. Variety, education, hopefully some inspiration and motivation for you in your day. Take care. Peace out. I'll see you tomorrow.
Bruh.